I am choosing Neil Young. Never heard that song before. I don't know how. Looked like it was 9 years ago. Is that possible? Um, great, great song. Really good video. Um, I really dug that a lot. The guy sweeping was caught my attention. Sweeping and like, I think the next time I sweep, I might sweep like that. I have to sweep today. I'm gonna sweep like that. Just enjoying what you're doing, no matter what it is. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say except it was a great song and a really good video. Great atmosphere in the video. I'm probably only if I the only reason I wouldn't download that song is if I forget to, which is always a good possibility. But I want to download that song. I like it a lot. Um, I googled Neil Young and Van Morrison to see how old they were. Van Morrison is a year older. I think it's 74 and 73. Because I wasn't sure if Van Morrison was still alive, so I actually I asked Alexa their ages. The Van Morrison song, once they got to the chorus, that sounded familiar, so I've never heard it before. Actually, both these singers very distinct voices. Um, kind of hard to not know who it is. But the Van Morrison song, the song was pretty good. The video was um, pretty. Of course, when there's lyrics on the screen, it kind of takes away from everything because you're reading. Even though I noticed that a lot of things, Facebook has a lot of videos for some reason, even though it's very clear, they have the dialogue on the screen to read it. And even though I don't need to read it, I read it for some reason, and it takes away. Um, I get it when there's songs in case the lyrics might be a little hard to understand, but I've just never been a fan of that unless I'm looking for lyrics. I've never been a fan of lyrics on the screen because again, it takes away from a lot of things. But watching the bird flying in slow motion was pretty cool. Uh, Again, very scenic video. But with Neil Young being in his video and Van Morrison not even appearing in that one, obviously that was just done by somebody. It's kind of a no-brainer. Um, Not that I disliked the Van Morrison song, but to me that was the equivalent of playing one-on-one hoops up to 11. 11-4 was the score. Neil Young dominated. Um, Neil Young, wasn't he in Crosby, Stills, and Nash, right? Because it was Crosby, Stash, Neil Young. Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, right? I don't know why I just thought of that, but which makes sense because I feel like all those guys are probably around the same age. What else do I have to say? Oh, every time I hear Neil Young song, I think of Damage because wow, this shows you how ignorant I was about music even like 20 years ago. Neil Young was performing at MTV. I think it was the MTV Video Awards. And I was on the phone with him, and I didn't have the TV on. He goes, "Oh, Neil Young's on." I'm like, "Neil Young, what's he sing?" Or maybe I even asked, "Who's Neil Young?" Is that possible? Maybe. And Damage just started blurting out some Neil Young song in a Neil Young voice. And Damage was always great at imitating voices, whether it be singing or trying to imitate certain athletes. And every time I hear Neil Young now, I think of Damage. I wish I knew what song it was, but I guarantee I could find it on YouTube because I vividly remember the performance. Jay, you remember speaking of Damage and voices? Do you remember watching that video from God? It must have been fall of '87. You probably saw it in the early '90s when we were all not you, but me and my friends were all playing football at Franklin Field on the tennis courts. And such a weird video because I wonder if Don saw this video. The RFA football team was, I don't know if they just got done with practice, but it was like, I remember Dave Darkangelo, like Chicky, Gino, uh, who the hell else was on that? It was my senior year. I think it was Matt Taylor. Anyways, we were playing football at Franklin Field, and somebody was videotaping it on one of those big ass VHS recorders, cameras. And they started interviewing Damaj, and he's trying to sound like a black man. I think you might have nailed it years later. He sounded like George Foreman. Do you remember that? I don't know why. Just because I'm thinking about Damaj doing voices. Such a weird thing. Like, Bumpy was there. Bumpy. Fucking Bumpy Mead. Legend has it Bumpy Mead has the biggest penis in the history of RFA. Don, you know about that? Bumpy Mead's pecker. Um, wow. This video has gone way off the rails. Add Bumpy Mead to the list of people that made Friday night videos. But I always remember there was a battle between Bumpy Mead and Bob McLean. I think Bob McLean graduated in '87, but I always like this controversy who had the bigger pecker. The... so stupid. So Don, I know you were the only one that would be in that locker room, but see, you played in the fall of '89 and probably '88, so you weren't on that team in '87. So, but I wonder if the rumor ever got around if there was any um, old stories when you got there. It's kind of like a old wives' tale now. I have to ask Damaj again about Bumpy's pecker. Anyways, I don't even know how to go on from there, but I've watched so little of baseball. You know what? My shift has really, really, for the first time ever, played a huge part in what I'm watching for sports. Even if I have a night off, I am so damn tired by 9 o'clock. I have not seen the ending, I don't think, of any games. Maybe I saw one on the weekend last week. I saw the highlights of last night's terrible check swing. Oh, God. Again, I don't know the situation. I'm guessing there was nobody on. Scherzer was in. Um, I don't even know what count it was. Was it 1-2, 2-2? Um, but then again, it's all well, down by one run. It takes one swing. So, what a terrible, terrible call. How are umpires not held accountable more? Like Angel Hernandez, right? Isn't he like one of the worst umps of all time? He's always still employed. Probably doing postseason games, I imagine, right? It just seems like there's such bad umpiring now. Anyways, that's my take on that. I have been watching some football. The Chargers are really good. I haven't said that in a long time, but they're really good, so that's encouraging. What about the whole John Gruden thing? Nobody probably wants to tackle that because it can go on forever and ever, but man, there's so much to dive into about that. Emails from 10 years ago. Um, yeah, it's uh, that's so much to unravel. Probably not even going to get into, but it's just weird that and it's in a fucking like this. His fucking life is like so different now because of an email 10 years ago. I mean, I'm not saying it's unfair, but it's odd. I get it. I kind of get it. Yeah, I get it. But holy shit, holy fuck, the guy was a legend, like a living legend. Like right now, like everything. Great coach, unbelievable personality. It was great on Monday Night Football. one of the best mic'd up persons ever that I've seen. He's so intense and like fun and easy to root for, and just like that, his career's over. Over. He'll never coach again unless it's like some Division 2 or 3 college team. But anyways, thought I just want to touch on that. 10 minutes. What's going on this weekend? Gina's coming over and spending the weekend with me, which is fantastic. Um, uh, Found out Alex is going to California next weekend for like 2 weeks. He's got some time off, so that's what's going on with him. That's about it, guys. Don, have a nice birthday next week. I'm sure I'll be sending a video because I think that phone calls are frowned upon now on birthdays, but I'll reach out to you. Or maybe this is it. Happy birthday, bud. All right, guys. Have a good weekend. See ya.